Okay, so for today's video, I'm going to be covering how I get my daily bias using ICT concepts and a few concepts that I personally taught myself. So first off, I start on the weekly. As you can see, price has delivered up into this weekly fair value gap after a big retracement, after a big pump last week. Noticing that last week we also created no bottom wick here, so this is quite a bearish sign, and we're delivering out of a weekly fair value gap here. So we could potentially see sort of a bearish week this week to take out this low, but kind of doubt it with the bullish news that's going on. That is over 1,000 pips away, so not too sure if we're going to take that out. So dropping down to the daily now. Going to take ES on the daily as well, looking for any SMTs, and I believe, yeah, we've got an SMT right here with this high. Notice how ES has broke this high and NQ hasn't even taken it. So this is quite a bullish SMT, even though it's at the highs, as ES has been a bit of a stronger pair recently. It has been the stronger asset out of the two. And we have broken structure on the daily with this SMT, so we could look for a potential continuation this week. Monday has opened lower, and at the moment we're sweeping out this daily intermediate term low, which has also created a bullish SMT at these lows here. So now I'm going to be dropping down to the 4-hour time frame. And what I see, we have an SMT at the highs and an SMT at the lows. Now, that is a bullish and a bearish sign. So what I tend to do when we have both bullish and bearish signs in the market is I look for whichever side has the most confluences matching the reversal, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go over that right now. As you can see, we have two bullish fair value gaps here. Price has come lower and it has opened lower on the daily, tapped into a bullish fair value gap on the 4-hour. Look how we've just tapped into that perfectly. We created a bullish SMT at the lows, and we are also holding this fair value gap here. Now looking on ES, we have also done the same, but this is a different fair value gap. We are still holding this fair value gap here. So at the moment, these are looking bullish. I'm loving how the daily's opened lower. So if you've watched my video on open low high close and open high low close, then you'll understand that seeing the manipulation in the open low is giving us probability for a high close. So we've had our manipulation lower, creating the low of the daily wick. So now I'm looking for the daily candle to flip bullish and close bullish. So dropping down to the hourly now, I'm looking for bullish targets. As you can see, all my confluences are aligning with bullish, with a bullish day. So now I'm going to be looking for any bullish targets that I can see. And immediately what I'm looking for are inefficiencies like this fair value gap here, this fair value gap here with this volume imbalance, and any obvious highs in the market. So I'm just going to mark out our obvious highs. So we've got this one here, and we've got this one here, and then I'm going to mark out my fair value gaps. So I've got this fair value gap here, and we have this fair value gap here with a volume imbalance inside it. So now what I do is I look on the economic calendar, which is Forex Factory. So this is the site that I use to find the news for every single day. So it's called forexfactory.com, and what it does is it shows you the economic calendar for every single day. These are the settings that I use. I trade the US index, so I only have the USD marked up. So this is just going to give you news that correlates to the US, basically, and I won't have my yellow news marked up because I don't trade yellow news. It's just useless to me. It doesn't impact the markets at all. So I use the grey, which mainly indicates bank holidays, so I get to know when a bank holiday is. As you can see here, grey, so next week on Monday we have a bank holiday. You're essentially looking for red folder news to have the biggest amount of volume in the markets. Orange folder news doesn't really have much of an impact. Some of them do. These ones don't, so I'll still trade these days. However, I won't have to wait till a certain time to trade. As you can see, it's 1:30 p.m. I do currently live in the UK, so 1:30 p.m. is 8:30 Eastern, and This is 9:45 Eastern, so this is the news on Thursday that we've got. So I'll be waiting to trade after 9:45 p.m. So after this news has come out, because if you're trading whilst the news is coming out, a lot of the time it can have a massive volatile candle which can wick out your stop loss, and it's just a high probability of you getting stopped. So I normally wait for these news days to come out. I wait for the news data to come out, and then I'll look for a trade. And I've noticed that we've got no news today, and it's a no news Monday, so I'm expecting slight lack in volume today, as that's how no news Mondays tend to be. So knowing that, now I'm going to be looking for the closest target, which is this obvious high in the market right here. So this is going to be our buy side liquidity, and this is a very good target for me. Looking on the 30-minute, I'm trying to align my highs with fair value gaps, as they are much stronger draws on liquidity. See how we've got this high here inside of a fair value gap. This is an intermediate term high, so we could be seeing a potential reversal off this high here. We do have this slight manipulation leg. Notice how we've got a uptrend, we've had a manipulation lower, and we've closed above this high. So that has created a manipulation leg, which is where I'm going to draw my standard deviation projection from. Now, this standard deviation projection is not aligning with this high here, so I don't think I'll be closing full positions there. I'll be looking to trade through this. This will be a partial point. However, I would like to see these lows get taken out. 9:30 open, I'd like to see an open low, take out this low resistance liquidity, sweep this 4-hour intermediate term low for then a move higher. So all the concepts that I'm currently using are all the concepts that I have taught so far in my playlist. I'm just using them on a higher time frame to grasp a sort of idea of where the market's going to go. Another thing I like to do is mark out the same highs and lows on ES as I've marked up on NQ, as if any of these highs or lows get taken, then we could be potentially creating a bullish or bearish SMT, which could really affect my trading. So another thing that I'm noticing here is we have started to create a bit of a choppy range. So this could be our potential AMD model, which was, I'm pretty sure, one of my previous videos. Power of 3, our accumulation. So now I'm looking for our manipulation lower, sweeping out this low, and then a run higher with our distribution. So this bias is looking very clean for today. If I do end up taking a trade, then I will be posting it on my trade recaps, and I'm sure this video will be coming out later on in the week. It's overdue. I should have done a daily bias video sooner, as this is a very important concept in my opinion. Having a good understanding of where the markets are drawing to and where the markets want to go is vital in your trading. Okay, so this is the next day, and I'm going to be going over my drawn liquidity for today. So this SMT at the highs has been invalidated, and now we have got a clean sweep on previous day high and today's high. So I believe that today's high is protected after taking out this. So now it looks like we've got a bit of an internal range model, having seen both the highs and the lows being taken on the daily chart. So here's our range. Here's the high, here's the low of the range, dropping down to the 4-hour. Another thing that I'm noticing is we have taken out both external draws on liquidity in this range. So for me, my next look would be for an internal range run. So I'm going to be looking for as your external high, so now I'm going to be looking for an internal low, the external to internal model. So now my next drawn liquidity, having seen this 4-hour fair value gap being mitigated, as you can see, we've tapped into it. We've got this lower 4-hour fair value gap down here, which looks like a good target for me today. I might be looking for price to come take this out, having taken out external draws. This could be a good target for me today. So now, having my targets, one of my targets set, I'm going to be looking at the opposing side of my target. So I'm going to be looking for a reversal point in the highs. As you can see, there's nothing really on the 4-hour time frame apart from this high up here. But I don't want us to come take out this high, as it is almost 100 pips away, and then for my target it would be 220 pips, and I just doubt we get that much volume today. No news Tuesday. So taking on board the economic calendar and knowing how much volume you tend to get, Now yesterday I was not expecting this much volume. I ended up not trading. We had a run on 414 pips yesterday, and I had no entry inside this run. But anyway, so I'm looking for a reversal point inside this range. Now I can't see any on the 4 hour, so I'm going to drop down to a lower time frame. And first thing you notice is these two obvious highs here. Now this looks like a great point for reversal. We've got relative equal highs above, so that could be a drawn liquidity for today. I didn't notice that, but now I do, so I keep that in count. I'm going to mark that up as equal highs. So you see these highs inside this fair value gap. These are intermediate term highs, and they work really well as reversal points. So now we have our reversal point and our target lower. So just like that, I've got a good bias on NQ. Now I'm going to be marking up the same highs on ES, and one thing I've noticed is ES has taken out this hourly intermediate term high inside of this fair value gap. So this now has a bearish SMT, which is really good for shorts. SMT inside our hourly fair value gap. Price is breaking structure to the downside as well, so I'm looking for a continuation of this downside trend. So I'm using breaks of structure now to grasp more of a bias. As you can see, this hourly had a sweep as well as this previous day high. So we're sweeping the highs and breaking structure to the lows. So as you can see, that is very bearish order flow. So I think this is going to be a great target for me today. Dropping down to the 30-minute time frame, looks like we've not got many fair value gaps in our way. We have this small fair value gap right here, but we have already tapped into this. So I do believe that we will just fall straight through this as market opens. I tend to get my bias a good hour before market open, around an hour before. So I've got a good understanding, and I can feel confident coming into the day that I know where my drawn liquidity is. Another thing I'm going to be looking for is low resistance liquidity, which is basically a choppy range. So right here, down these lows, we have low resistance liquidity. Notice how price is failing to sweep these previous lows. So we're creating higher lows in a bullish trend, and the higher time frame is bearish. So this down here is low resistance liquidity. Now, one thing I love about low resistance liquidity is once one of the lows get taken, there is a high probability that all of them are then going to get raided through. So I'm looking for a low resistance liquidity raid on all of these lows to take price lower to this drawn liquidity. I'm also going to mark out the low of the range because this could be a potential reversal point. So I'm going to mark this out as a potential partialing point. But this is going to be my main full TP for today. Looks like we've also got relative equal highs at the relative equal lows down here. No inefficiencies to really push price higher inside this leg down here. We do have a manipulation leg here, so we've got a slight downtrend, manipulation leg higher to take out an inefficiency, and then a move back lower, closing below the manipulation leg. So that's going to be creating our standard deviation projection. And look what aligns with our standard deviation projection, our zone, our target. So this makes our target even higher of a probability to get taken out today. Now I'm never ever married to a bias. There is potential that we could get a bullish day today. We've got these relative equal highs. So if I wanted a bullish day today, I would be looking for this fair value gap to get inversed and a closure above this intermediate term high here. And that just confirms, that would confirm a market structure shift for a trend reversal to then go and take out these highs. So now I'm confident in both directions of the market today. I've set my condition. I am mainly leaning bearish, shorts to these. However, I do have targets going higher, so now I'm confident in trading both ways, and this is how I get a really good daily bias every single day. My daily bias is right about 95% of the time, just by setting these conditions in the market. I don't see many people talking about them. Setting conditions in the market is really, really important. Seeing how we're respecting this, we can definitely run lower. However, that's only giving you one trading opportunity. If you set a condition for this to break and this whole fair value gap to get inversed, then now you have another possibility for a trade. And that is how I use highs and lows. I use them for conditions in the market. I'm looking for highs to get swept for reversals or highs to get broken for continuations, and I'm looking for fair value gaps to get respected for continuations or inversed for reversals. Looking at the order flow that is currently being respected, as you can see, we are sweeping highs and breaking lows, so that is giving you bearish order flow. We're also respecting a bearish fair value gap, so the order flow is clearly bearish today. Everything is aligning with shorts. Looks like we're coming through this fair value gap. Once this fair value gap is fully filled, it will have less chance of giving a reaction in the market, as it has been fully mitigated by the market. So that is just giving us even more probability to run lower down to my liquidity down here. So understanding setting conditions and understanding external to internal range liquidity, also understanding low resistance and basic market structure to understand order flow, very important. I can do an in-depth video on all of these concepts. But yeah, so this is how I get my daily bias most days, and it's right about 90% of the time.